Hello guys, right now one of the largest Russian turbine plants is on fire in Yekaterinburg. Can you guess the reason why? We're not talking about something obvious like someone smoked or maybe a Ukrainian drone landing. We are talking about this real reason. And you might have guessed right. This plant produces important parts, turbines for Russian oil refineries and power plants. You know, something evil is happening to Russian oil refineries right now, and we don't want them to be quickly repaired because the plan to defeat and demilitarize a way larger country can lie in the destruction of vital for its war economy spheres like oil refineries. So the strategy is extremely creative, wise, and as you see, multi-dimensional. Another important update came from Leningrad region, the one with St. Petersburg in the center. A new cargo train full of various weapons was derailed in the result of some explosions and sabotage work on the railroad. It's not the first time something similar happens even in this region of the Russian Federation, but with each day there are more and more reports that this is not the work of the Ukrainian armed forces, Ukrainian drones, but sabotage groups inside Russia, and this makes Putin freak out. So let's discuss why these fires and sabotage is so important for the implementation of the only working peace plan, and you all know that is to defeat and demilitarize Russia. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, in brave Kyiv. Subscribe to witness the collapse of the Kremlin regime together, and please share these videos to spread the truth and protect your loved ones from the lies of the Kremlin, and they can be toxic and dangerous even if you live across the ocean. So let's begin with the news from the Urals. These are mountains, and close to these mountains we have Yekaterinburg. Yekaterinburg can be a capital of Siberia because you all know the Russian Federation has a great potential for the dissolution when people have freedom to choose. So in Yekaterinburg, they had a very big and very important old plant that produces turbines. And these turbines are needed for oil refineries and various power plants. Right now, there were a series of explosions on oil refineries and power plants. In Belgorod, in Bryansk, they experienced very dark nights. And oil refineries, I think we are soon 50% off. Thumbs up for that, and a thumbs up for the accomplishing of our NAFO campaign. I will speak more about that in the days to come, but I'm very, very grateful that you made it possible. And this is great news that with sanctions working, I mean that Russian oil refineries cannot be repaired that quickly because they don't have the necessary parts inside Russia. They cannot get them from the European Union or the United States, at least easily. Maybe something can be smuggled, but that's not the size and amount they need with such disaster all over the refining industry. And Ukrainian drones are smart. They usually target these important elements within the whole oil refining system and the depots that later detonate, burn, and fuel the fuel crisis inside Russia. And usually when they target these important technical, mechanical, precise parts of oil refineries, they include turbines. So once again, it's not Ukrainians targeting any military location without a bigger picture, without the understanding of what we need to do. When Putin destroys civilian apartments, that's a tragedy, but that's not a strategy. And Ukrainians are not a nation that will surrender because we are afraid. We know what happens when you live under Moscow. We've experienced that for centuries. We don't want it anymore. That's why we fight back, and we fight back effectively by destroying whole spheres that fed the Russian military machine. And first it began with depots, continued with oil refineries, then with pumping stations, then with pipelines, with ports, you remember Novorossiysk and Tuapse, and now we are talking about the plants that supply the parts needed for the repairs of the destroyed oil refining facilities. Once again, please share the truth and help others understand that not just Russia can be defeated, the process has already started, and subscribe to witness that together. I'm sure there will be a lot of important news that we will discuss in our community really soon. And some interesting, I'd say intriguing updates are coming from Leningrad region. Unbelievable, but in Russia they still have dozens of regions, if not hundreds, named after bloody communist leaders like Lenin and Leningrad. And right now the reports were about the derailed cargo train full of weapon supplies. But before that, in September, 2 cargo trains with oil tankers were destroyed in the very same region. So something evil, or I should say good, is happening to the railroads in the area. And a couple of days ago, I reported about Kirishi, a nefteprodukt or something like that. That is a huge oil refinery in that same region, Leningrad region, that was targeted by Ukrainian drones, but most likely the coordination and support was done by some sabotage groups inside the Russian Federation that describe themselves as dark sparkle or something like that, and it causes a lot of trouble to the FSB agents, and I'm sure panic in the Kremlin is very real. Same as the panic among the Russian vloggers. Do watch my new video on Anna Danilchuk channel that will soon have 250,000 views. So perhaps it's worth watching and sharing too. Anyway, these updates about some sabotage movements shaping not just as good people in our Ukrainian armed forces, as the International Legion, but I mean working deep inside the Russian RIA is very promising. I don't believe them very much yet, but these protests on the far east of Russia is also a good sign. The Kremlin is losing control, and such huge, unnatural Frankensteins as the Russian Federation then collapse really quickly. I know some are afraid of the dissolution of the Russian Federation, but you don't need to be, because the process is natural and it has already started. And to tell you the truth, we don't actually have a choice. We either control this process, protect ourselves, and try to make the best out of it, or we are afraid, we are trying to hide from the truth, and this won't help us much. And here, to fight against this disinformation and dangers that Kremlin, their fake messages, and not just Kremlin, all over the world, authoritarian regimes or authoritarian wannabe leaders inspire others, and it creates a lot of problems in our community. So I have a very important for me questionnaire in our community. Please vote and leave your thoughts, your impressions. It's just for us to understand what we consider the best to protect ourselves from such disinformation. So I encourage you to visit our community tab and to leave your thoughts and impressions, but of course only if you want to, because here in Ukraine, in your beautiful countries, in your families, or in your hearts, if you live somewhere in a problematic political military zone, I mean, no matter where you are, we have our community of people who love freedom, who respect each other, and who stand for the truth, because it exists. It exists. And this Russian invasion actually demonstrates that there is still a very vivid division between the good and the evil. And I'm so happy that with so many good people on the channel. Follow me on Anna Danilchuk channel too. You will find the link in the description, same as links to my Instagram, X, Blue Sky, Discord, and threats. And of course, our merch shop that has a lot of good sweatshirts and hoodies and t-shirts and caps and cups that turn you into the ambassadors of Ukraine and help you start so important conversations about the need to defeat the evil. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel, sending you lots of love from Kyiv. Now you may officially say that at least a couple of minutes a day when you watch my videos, you spend the time in Ukraine and in our brave capital. Thank you so much for being friends. Slava Ukraini!